conversations. So I want to tell you a story before I get into what I want to speak about today. So a few years ago, I went to visit my family who stays in Malawi for the Christmas New Year period. And I remember there was one day we had a party. It was the New Year's party that we wanted to have. So my dad owns a security company, and he got a lot of his security guards to come and protect the premises where we were staying, to make sure that nothing happened. Obviously, it's New Year, so a lot of stuff happens. And he brought a bunch of his security guards to protect us, to make sure that everything stays okay. The interesting thing is they came a day before. Now, if you go and look at Malawi, you will see that there's a very big lake there. And we wanted to treat some of these guards, because they've never experienced, because the land is obviously very poor, and some of them have never seen the lake before. They've never been on the lake before. So we decided, me and my dad, to take some of his guards out to go and drive with the boat on the lake. And I remember they got into the boat. They were a little bit scared, because usually, if you do drive on a speedboat for the first time on a big land of water, and you've never really experienced that much of water, it is a scary thing. And we went out with them to the islands, and we went around the islands and played a little bit there and looked at the wildlife on the islands and everything. But then the next moment, I got warm, and I decided, okay, you know what, I want to get off the boat and swim a little bit. So I stood up and jumped off of the thing, and I went under the water and I swam. And it's a very normal thing. I think for most people that sounds very normal. But as soon as I went under the water, these guards started freaking out completely. And we were so confused why. And the reason, when we started asking them, was that they thought that this only happens in movies, that people cannot actually swim underwater. That's a thing that only happens in the movies. And they were completely freaked out. And me and my dad was both so shocked, like, what the heck? How did you not know that? And then we started realizing it is because these people doesn't have a very big world view. They live in Lilongwe. That's where my family stays, is in Lilongwe in Malawi. And so they've only known that. They've never traveled further than that. They've never seen the rest of the world. They don't have a very big perspective of how big the world is. And I want to talk to you about that today, is that we have to enlarge our world view. I meet so many business people, so many young people. They watch videos of all these great big business names, Elon Musk's and Mark Zuckerberg's and Bill Gates and all these big names. But once you start speaking to them and actually tell them, okay, you need to develop a plan. How are you going to get your business to start? How are you going to get from point A to point B? And a lot of times they struggle with coming up with a good plan. And I believe one of the big reasons this is happening is because our generation and a lot of people in our country doesn't have a very big world view. So why is this important, that you need a big world view? Well, it's pretty simple. If you don't have a big worldview, you can't think of big things. Now, in a country like ours, where we are a very diverse country, so we have Afrikaans people, we have English people, we have Xhosa, Sotho, Zulu, we have all these different peoples, but a lot of them are operating in silos. The Afrikaans people are looking after the Afrikaans people, the English people are looking after the English people, all the different black tribes are looking after their own tribes, and here and there you might find somebody that is actually, they cross the border and they would work with somebody else. But deep down inside of people's hearts, it's still a bit of a thing. It's still a bit of an issue. Even although apartheid was finished so many years ago, it's still a bit of an issue if we're very honest with each other. And I believe the reason why, the issue that this is bringing, is that it's hindering us from having a big world view. Now, what is my advice to you if you are one of those people? I want to tell you that you need to go and do the exact opposite of what you are used to. So if you are in a very small church, then go for one Sunday and visit a very big church. And don't go to criticize them, go to find understanding. If you are an Afrikaans person, then go to the Apartheid Museum. If you are a black person, then go to the Voortrekker Monument. I want you to go and do something that is completely out of your comfort zone, something that's going to stretch you, something that's going to enlarge you. You know, if you maybe you need to take your domestic worker and actually make them a good, amazing lunch. When they come and work for you again sometime during the week, and then sit down with them and actually have a decent conversation with them and ask them about their lives, ask them about their dreams, ask them about stuff that you are interested about, and vice versa. So whatever situation you are in, wherever you are coming from, this is my challenge to you this specific week, is that I want you to go and enlarge your worldview by exposing yourself to stuff that you are not familiar with, that you do not know necessarily. And I want you to remember this lesson, that you constantly have to grow. If you've listened to our videos, you'll know that we've been talking about you need to develop a growth plan, and you grow by the people you know, the places you go, and the books you read. And that's the big thing I want to focus on now is the places that you go. Where are you going? What is challenging you? What are you seeing? If you are living in an area where there's poverty, you need to go to a rich area and see how a rich area functions. If you're living in a rich area, you need to go to a very impoverished area to see how things function, so that you can have a bigger understanding of what is happening in the world and what is happening in life. Also, if you have the opportunity to travel overseas, you know, I've had the privilege when I was very young to go to Europe, and we traveled a bit around there for a karate competition that I had. And it was insane to see how differently things function. It felt like everything just works. Where in South Africa, you know, it's a challenge, it's a fight. But then also I've had the privilege to see a lot of other African countries, and then you think, okay, maybe South Africa is not that bad, because if you have to compare it to some of the stuff that's happening in other African countries, we are definitely, you know, not that bad. And I hope we will never ever get to that place. And that's why we as entrepreneurs has to stand up and has to do stuff. So this is, like I said, my challenge to you is go and explore, go and grow your worldview. And the only way you are going to do that is by exposing yourself to bigger things, whatever that might be, however that might look in your life. Do something that is the exact opposite of what you are used to, so that you can have a bigger understanding of what is happening in the world.